All right, y'all. Y'all already know what time it is. We back with another one. Welcome back to another episode of Can I Get Some Sports With That? It's only three of us today. That's all right. We're gonna 3-man it. You already know. I'm your host again for today. The host with the most, Neil. I got my main mans with me, D-Boy. We ain't seen him in a while. D-Boy, say what's up to the people.
What's happening, world? Sorry for the absence, but mental health comes first.
Hey man, that's all right. As long as you good and back in here, man, that's all that matters. And of course, I got my other main man with me, Mr. Chrissy Chris. What's up, Chris?
What it do? What up, y'all? Glad to see y'all.
All right, y'all. So I told y'all at the end of the last episode that we was gonna start off with the football talk, and one of the biggest trades that people was wondering was gonna happen all offseason with Mr. Baker Mayfield himself being traded to the Carolina Panthers. And my question for y'all is, fellas, is will Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold start? Which one of them do you think is gonna win the starting job? Do you think it's gonna be a competition? Is Matt Rule gonna make it a competition, or are they just gonna go ahead and give the spot right out to Baker? D-Boy, let's go ahead and start with you.
Do I think they gonna get a spot to Baker? No. Should they? Yes. And here's why. In my opinion, Baker Mayfield, I'm not saying he's not great, but he's not Sam Darnold bad. Like Sam Darnold, he throws a lot of interceptions. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield is accurate. But he's a lot. If I had one game to win, and those are my two quarterbacks, I'm going Baker Mayfield every time. Because Baker Mayfield, he has the 1-2 to improve. Like he actually cares. Sam Darnold gives me this entitlement impression. Like because you can have all the talent in the world. You know who Sam Darnold kind of reminds me of? He reminds me of a younger Jay Cutler. You remember how Jay Cutler had all the talent, had the arm strength, the accuracy, all that. But he was just a head case, like he just was an arrogant jerk. But that's how Sam Darnold rubs me.
I real quick, not to cut you off, but at the same time, Jay Cutler hasn't necessarily had to go through some of the same stuff that Sam Darnold went through. Sam Darnold has literally had a different offensive coordinator and head coach almost every single year. So it's like I get what you're saying in terms of Sam Darnold could put a little more effort into actually, trying to improve his own game as well. But how can you really get a certain rapport even with your receivers and your team if literally the playbook and the coaching staff is always forever changing? He's only had one head coach that has been here that he's had the same year, and that's been Matt Rule. He's about to have Matt Rule twice, but they fired their offensive coordinator, the one that they hired from LSU, and Joe Brady, which I thought was honestly a little bit unfair to Joe Brady. I feel like Joe Brady got a bit of an unfair shake because I felt like the game. I felt like the game plan he was running was actually solid. It's just all his players and really the main weapon in Carolina got hurt, which was Christian McCaffrey. And it's like, I love CMC. That's my boy. But at the same time,
he can't stay healthy.
He can't necessarily stay on the field. And it's like, you shouldn't necessarily build your offense around the running back per se. But I always felt like teams can have a run-heavy offense, but you shouldn't necessarily build the team around the running back, because we sort of saw that happen with Tennessee when Derrick Henry went down. You could tell okay, it's a run-heavy offense, but it's not necessarily built around Derrick Henry. He just he may be the main cog and the main spoke in the wheel, but like he isn't the wheel. You feel me? The wheel is still the rest of the offense and trying to keep that going.
Right.
So
let me not to cut you off. I just want to throw this in. You can kind of even say you can even kind of relate with that to what the Bears doing. The Bears are building an offense around Justin Fields, not David Montgomery.
But
so
it's going to be a run-heavy offense, though. It's going to be a
run-heavy offense, but they're basically going to give the keys to Justin to run the offense.
Right. What's your thoughts, Chris? Do you think the Panthers are going to give the starting job to Baker Mayfield off rip, or is he going to have to earn it? Is he going to have to fight with Sam Darnold to start?
I think it's going to be a quarterback competition, honestly, because as to your point, this will be Sam Darnold's first year under the same coach that he had the previous year, and I think he still got something to prove, and I think Baker got something to prove, and I don't think Sam Darnold is just going to let Baker come in and necessarily take his job. He's not just going to give his job up to Baker Mayfield, so I think it's going to be an exciting training camp in Carolina, and hopefully their main weapon, their main piece can stay healthy for a season so we can actually see how good the team could be, because it's been kind of sad the last couple of seasons. Like every time you go down, it's like, there goes Carolina. It's like there's nothing else in Carolina. Once they lose CMC, it's like they're doomed. So
and we saw with Tennessee,
good to see.
I was gonna say, and we saw with Tennessee, they lost Derrick Henry early, but still, weren't they the number one seed in the AFC? Was they number one?
Well,
they were.
Yeah.
And you know what?
They had number one up to.
And I think that injury to Derrick Henry cost them a trip to the Super Bowl. And here's why. I think if Derrick Henry did not get hurt and miss those however many games he missed, I think as much as I love Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, I don't think Cincinnati would have beat them had he not got hurt.
You gotta think about it. Derrick Henry was on a record pace. He was on a record pace in yards per carry. He got hurt in the fifth game and had like almost 10 touchdowns already. Like his numbers were so good that even through week 7, he was still like a top back and he hadn't even played. So yeah, that could be true because he was on a record pace. He was on a record-setting pace.
I think he single-handedly would have got them to the AFC Championship game.
I mean, they only would have had to win one game. They had the bye week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, when Cincinnati beat Tennessee, I knew Kansas City was in trouble.
Do y'all remember, because if you go back and look at the season, I think it was one particular game where a team had shut him down, like almost but it was like one run. He got one run in the fourth quarter, and the man just had 3 of them. I think he called a pass next. Then he had 2. Like he just went crazy, bro. He went crazy. Man,
it's like he gets stronger as the game gets later.
Right. And honestly, in my opinion, I think because of all the drama surrounding everything going on with Baker Mayfield and the way they kind of traded for him, I think Baker Mayfield is going to be the starter. I think they're going to give him that starting job. It may end up being a quarterback competition, but I honestly feel that Baker Mayfield is going to get that starting job regardless, especially because I feel like the writing is kind of on the wall for both of them in Carolina because they did draft a quarterback. And so they drafted a quarterback and then they traded for Baker Mayfield. So I feel like this is kind of Baker Mayfield's proven year Sam Darnold's proven year and just, a red shirt year for their quarterback that they drafted. I can't think of his name right now, but
I agree with you there.
They definitely did.
Who would you say the better
did.
talent is?
The better talent, and in my opinion, if I'm just going talent wise and based off like all the things you would kind of want in your quarterback, I'm going Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold should be the better one talent wise, but Baker Mayfield is the harder worker. Sam Darnold, he's the taller of the two. I think he's slightly more athletic. He's got the arm strength. It's all there and technically in what you would want is Sam Darnold. But the question is, can he put it together? That is really the thing about Sam Darnold. Can he put it all together? Can he become that quarterback that a lot of people thought he would be? But if I'm going based off of career-wise so far and the things that have happened in their career, I'm going Baker Mayfield. We saw Baker Mayfield drag Cleveland to the playoffs. We saw him get a playoff win. And then I also feel like last year Baker Mayfield got a lot of bad rep for playing but he also tried to play it like he played it hurt. Like he played through like 3-4 injuries for Cleveland last year. And that's why it's like, I understand, there was some tension between him and Odell Beckham and things didn't necessarily work out, how people thought they would. But at the same time, Baker Mayfield was still trying to do everything he could for that team. And it's like, when you're playing through an injury, sometimes it just only sort of makes it worse in a sense, because like you're trying so hard, but your play on the field isn't matching what people kind of know what from what people kind of expect you, right. Kind of expect you to do and know what you can do. So I feel like I just feel like
it's hard to play in Cleveland. Let's say it like this. It's hard to play in Cleveland.
It is, and
that's why I laugh, because it is. It is hard to play in Cleveland. And one thing, as much as I'm no shape, form of fashion a fan, but I respect LeBron and here for that alone. And here's why. That man did what he did in 2010, won 2 championships, came back and did what and completed his promise. Because if you remember when he first came in the league, he said, I'm gonna win one. I'm gonna win one here. He didn't say when. He didn't say how. He said he was gonna win one.
True that.
Kept his word. Won one. Now, all right, went back to LA. I mean, yeah, it's hard playing in Cleveland, just like it's hard playing in New York, just like it's hard playing in Philly, where everybody know how hard it is to play in Philly.
True that. Well,
LeBron brought that. Yeah, because before LeBron brought that to Cleveland, all they had was Bone. It's a rapper.
but in terms of other quarterbacks and other quarterback news, Mr. One, Jimmy Garoppolo is up for trade. The San Francisco 49ers have allowed him and his agency to seek a trade. And my biggest question is where will Jimmy G land up? Will he land in Seattle, where they're kind of desperate for a quarterback? Will he land in a place maybe you never know? Will he land up in a place like New Orleans? Who I don't get wrong. Famous Jameis is my boy, but I can kind of tell they a little on the fence about Famous Jameis. But it seemed like he's getting it together and actually turning it around down in New Orleans. And it sucked that he got hurt last year and tore his ACL, because I feel like he would have had a really good season down there. But my question is, where will Jimmy G be traded to? Is he gonna get traded in his division to the Seattle Seahawks? Will he end up on a team like maybe the Detroit Lions? Where will Jimmy Garoppolo be traded? Let's go ahead and start with you, Chris. Where do you think Jimmy G is getting traded to?
Ooh, Jimmy G. Now, we was talking about this earlier, and my whole thing with this was I feel like it's going to be hard for a veteran like Jimmy G to find a job because there's so many young, talented quarterbacks out there, and they coming in, and these boys can throw the football. So, and you got a lot of, and everybody pretty much got a young gun on their team. Every team is set. Now, you bring up an interesting point when you bring up teams like Seattle and Detroit. Now, I don't think he's going to go to Seattle, and here's why. I think Seattle is in like a rebuild but still win now mode. So I see Seattle taking trying to get a Russell Wilson clone, a more athletic quarterback with a better arm. So I could see Seattle going somebody, maybe Cam Newton, maybe. But I can see Jared Goff being afraid of Jimmy G. I could see Jimmy G actually going to Detroit and putting to bed Mr. Jared Goff's whole NFL career, because I believe if Jimmy G goes to Detroit, he can actually go to Detroit and actually start. See, that was the thing for me. Seeing Jimmy G on another team in a starting position, I didn't think it was too many places based on all these young quarterbacks that are around, the Joe Burrows, the Josh Allens, the Justin Fieldses, the Trey Lances, the Trevor Lawrences. Like, you ain't finna necessarily put Jimmy G and have him take one of their job. You just wouldn't do that. So, but somebody like Jared Goff, who's been there, supposed to have done that, and who ain't quite lived up to the hype, you'll take somebody. You can go over there and take somebody like his job. And I think he will actually be a help to Detroit, even though Detroit still going to be Detroit. But I think Jimmy G will be a name to help him. And I like Famous Jameis. But if I had to pick two quarterbacks and it came down to Jimmy G and Famous Jameis, I think I'm going Famous Jameis. Like you said, Carneal, going off what you said, his year last year was great until he got hurt. He was actually playing good. He was winning. He won some close games. He was putting up some good numbers.
He was playing how he played those
accurate than
first
we had
couple
ever
years.
seen.
He was playing how he played those first couple years
Yeah,
in Tampa Bay until he had that 30 for 30.
Yeah, he was looking really, really good. So, and I think he'll still beat Jimmy G out for a starting job. I'm sorry. So he ain't starting in New Orleans. So yeah, Detroit, I definitely see Jimmy G going to Detroit. I definitely see him beating out Jared Goff. And I definitely see him trying to give Detroit a way to make just that much noise, because they never make a lot. And that's my take.
So, in my opinion, I low-key think that Jimmy G will be traded by the deadline. I don't know if he's going to get traded in the offseason, but I do feel like that, because we all know injuries are a part of the game. Let's say somebody's starting quarterback goes down, whether it be one of these young dudes or maybe another veteran, we could potentially see Jimmy Garoppolo on the move to one of those teams just to fill that hole while their veteran is out. But with the teams that I mentioned, I honestly could see Jimmy Garoppolo potentially being traded to Seattle. And it's partially based off of what you said, Chris, that they're still kind of in like not a full rebuild, but a partial rebuild. They're kind of trying to put themselves in a certain type of position.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can honestly see him being traded to Seattle, because Seattle doesn't really have a quarterback. I mean, they traded Russell Wilson for Drew Lock, and then I think there's somebody else behind him, but I don't know.
But that's why
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
But
know.
that's why I said what I said about Cam. I think because that's why I think Cam will go. If anybody gives Cam a chance, I think it'll be a team like Seattle.
But see,
because of the
but
style.
see, I don't think
because of the style.
I don't think Cam is gonna get that chance though. I think Cam will be another one of them players where he might get signed if somebody's starting quarterback goes down and they were kind of in like a position to succeed and make some noise and maybe do other things. I can see Cam Newton doing that. But in terms of a team like Seattle, I can't see Seattle picking up Cam. I could honestly see them going to go get a quarterback like Jimmy G instead of Cam. That's just how I feel. I feel like that's just the honest truth because
the only reason I put Cam in Seattle because his play is similar to me. He plays a similar type of game that Russell Wilson played. And if I'm gonna try to replace Russ, I'm gonna replace him with someone with a similar type of game.
I feel you, but that's the point. I don't think they trying to replace Russ. I think they have moved on from the Russell Wilson experience and trying to replace him with a quarterback like him. That's why I think they will end up going for a quarterback like Jimmy G. Like I said, it's unfortunate, but I feel like the league might be done with Cam, and I feel like his time may have passed him by, which is unfortunate. But you know, I think that's just is what it is at this point. But D-Boy, how do you feel? What do you think? Will Jimmy G be traded in an offseason deadline? Seattle, Detroit, maybe a team like the Houston Texans. What do you think?
The sleeper team will be Cleveland, in my opinion, because we don't know what's going to happen to my boy Deshaun, who I still think is getting a raw deal. But if knowing Goodell's track record, Deshaun Watson is going to get suspended, maybe for the season. But
real quick on that Cleveland point, I don't see him getting traded there because that would cause a lot more controversy. Because if that was the case, then they just could have kept Baker Mayfield.
That's true.
If they were going to do that. So
that's why I said sleeper. Like, I don't expect it to happen.
Because Cleveland already has two different pretty much backup quarterbacks. I believe they got my boy, I'm blanking on his name, Jacoby Brissett, my boy. They have Jacoby Brissett, and they also just went and picked up Josh Rosen. So I feel like Cleveland is kind of going with the mindset to where if Deshaun is suspended, and it seems like, you know, from what I've been seeing and reports around the league is he might get about 8 games at best. I wouldn't see them going to go get Jimmy Garoppolo if he's only suspended for half the season. I think they're gonna rock out with what they got, and then when he come back, you know, they just gonna go from there. And that's how I feel about Cleveland.
Okay, fair enough. Seattle, I can also see in San Francisco saying, you know what, we don't like what's out there. We don't like what you brought us to the table. So we're just going to keep you and have you right at the bench. We're going to go with the kid to start the season, and we're going to use you as a veteran backup. Ooh. That's also an option. Ooh. Now, I think the latter will happen, most likely. I just don't see the 49ers trading like with a division rival. I just don't see it happening because the 49ers and the Seahawks can't stand each other. So I just can't see, you know, that happening. Like I said, I see the latter happening where they just say, you know what, we don't like the trades that you brought.
How did Richard Sherman end up there?
Well, that was
Richard Sherman end up?
That was Richard Sherman under his own free will.
No. Richard Sherman went there in free agency.
Yeah, that was him leaving under his own free will. So, but yeah, I think he's gonna end up staying as the backup because if I'm not mistaken, they've already said that Trey Lance is gonna go into the season as the starter. So,
they pretty much said that at the end of last season, though.
Right.
They did.
And And that's part of the reason why they
So you think he gonna be a backup?
but not just that. That's also part of the reason why they allow him to seek a trade because Jimmy doesn't want to necessarily back him up, which I could kind of understand.
No. But here's the thing: when you're trash, what choice do you have?
I mean, but
when you're the reason your team lost the Super Bowl, what choice do you have?
Not just one Super Bowl.
2 Super Bowls. Well, no. A Super Bowl and a trip to a Super Bowl. But with the trip to the Super Bowl, that's Cal Shanahan's fault. He should have learned his lesson. He should have learned his lesson from the Super Bowl. Okay, yeah, this guy can't close. Let me
your whole team is built around a run. I got
Raheem Mostert in my backfield. Let me run the ball.
I could put Deebo Samuel in my run backfield, and he can run the ball.
I got an Army Swiss knife. I got the Army Swiss knife that happens to be one of the best receivers in the league. What am I doing?
So, and that's what they built for. They built to run the ball.
Exactly. Just like the Bears, run the football, play good defense. Just like the Bears. So I see him, like I said, standing in San Francisco as the backup. They're gonna play the Bears. They're gonna go with Trey Lance. They're gonna play the Bears week 1. The Bears are gonna kill him. They gonna hurt that boy. I hope that line ready, because from what I've been seeing on film, boy, this ain't your Matt Nagy vanilla defense. No.
Don't tell me. No,
This is punch you in the mouth, break your ribs, knock you out the game. Like, yeah.
They ain't ready.
Yeah. Like, coming for your head defense. Like, trying to take your head off, detach your body from the ball. Yeah.
Don't tell him no more, D-boy. Don't tell him no more. Don't tell him no more.
I'm just why everybody's trying to climb the bed, boy. I'm telling you. Them boys gonna get on that field and hurt somebody.
Well, in terms of teams that almost made the Super Bowl and could have made the Super Bowl push, let's talk about the champs from 2 years ago, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And let's talk about how they just went and picked up, which honestly I think was a huge pickup, like huge pickup, and tight end Kyle Rudolph to replace Rob Gronkowski. Now, of course, Rob is Rob, and even with an older, slightly diminished Rob, you feel me? Rob is still Rob. That's Gronk. Ain't nobody gonna touch Gronk. You feel me? But like, to sort of replace what they had in that 2 tight end system with OJ Howard and Gronk, now it's going to be OJ Howard and Kyle Rudolph. So what do you think about the Buccaneers offense and just in terms of general? Will the Bucs be back in the bowl this year? Is terrific Tom going to make it happen again, or will they fall short in the playoffs? Let's start with you, D-Boy. What do you think?
They'll get to the conference championship. They're not going to win, though. I hate to say it, but I think the Rams are going to repeat.
Straight to the point.
And both of you guys know I can't stand the Rams. I hate the fuck out of them. But
you know what?
Older, bro.
You know what?
They older.
I want to say the Rams are going to repeat, but I also think part of what they had was lightning in a bottle, and teams really didn't have no film to watch to see what Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp was going to do. Now they got a whole year worth of film and will probably understand how to play them a whole lot better. So it's like,
unfortunately, Kyle Shanahan gave him a good run in the NFC Championship game. If he wasn't a bonehead, Kyle Shanahan could have beat them. He could have. He should have beaten them, but that's a different story.
But see, here's why I say that. Because you still got the best defensive player in the league on your team. You have a top 5 cornerback, even though Jamar Chase cooked his ass. You got arguably the top 5 wide receiver. A lot of people say put him top 10, but I have to put him top 5. As much as I don't care for him, but talent is talent. You can't ignore the fact that man is talented. You still got Matthew Stafford, and I always knew Matthew Stafford wasn't trash. It was just where he was at. It was Detroit holding. He wasn't holding the Lions back. The Lions were holding him back. So I still think that I still got the Rams winning it all. I got the Rams and Chiefs in the shoot.
I don't know about that D-boy. Like, he had Megatron and couldn't get to the bowl.
But they had no defense, bro. Except for them couple of years. But
Megatron.
I'll take that back. They had a defense because they had Ndamukong Suh.
They had food, they had snacks, they had
they was like and Megatron. And Megatron. And Mega. We talking about
because who was their coach? It wasn't Caldwell.
No, it was Caldwell. It was that Sean, not the dude that's on oh my God, what team? Because he's still coach.
No. Jim Caldwell was their coach. And Jim Caldwell had got them to the playoffs, remember? And then after that, they had fired Jim Caldwell.
Because they lost that first round. They won the division and lost that first round game.
Yep. And Jim Caldwell was out of there. That's exactly what happened. Yep.
Which that wasn't right. But we all know why they fired them, but we're not gonna go into that.
Right. That's a different subject for a different day. But Chris, what do you think about the Kyle Rudolph pickup for the Buccaneers? Does it help them advance and get back to the Super Bowl, or do they fall short in the playoffs again this year?
Well, what I'm gonna say about the Bucs is this: the Kyle Rudolph trade is big, but Kyle Rudolph, if I'm not mistaken, has had a few durability issues of his own. Now, if Kyle Rudolph is healthy and stays healthy, it's like he replacing Gronk with another Gronk in a sense. Like, okay, I'm losing Gronk. So it does make them better if he can stay on the field. But you know what? I've learned this the hard way because he has humbled me many of times.
You never count out terrific times. Never.
He's been humbling me since the year 2000 when he beat my Rams. The game I said was the fluke. I still stand by that. If something happened in that game was rigged. All that. Yeah, that dude, like, you can hate him. You cannot like him. You can hate him. You cannot like him. But you got to bet on him. You can't necessarily bet against him. But I will say this, that Tampa, their defense is a veteran defense. I would say terrific Tom season. They probably have a strong offense with the addition of Rudolph, but their defense is older. It's going to be how that defense holds up, how the veterans on their defense hold up. If they can hold up, terrific Tom will be a problem. But if not,
I mean, they only got a couple old dudes on that defense. To be honest with you, a lot of that defense is actually still pretty young.
But the main guys, you got Shaq Barrett up there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Shaq Barrett only about like 28-ish, maybe 30-ish. Like he old, but Shaq Barrett
like
still gonna give you that. They still got Devin White. They still got Sean Murphy Bunting. They still got You know, they still got that
Now,
secondary.
Tom Button ain't in them other two dudes is kind of they all like at the 30 mark. All the other dudes except Sean Murphy Button that you named is all about 30. They all about 30. So they all getting to that point
The oldest,
where
the
we know
oldest
dudes
person
gonna
on their
be old.
defense
We
is
know
honestly
dudes can still get
JPP.
down.
Cause you gotta think about it. They
No,
still got
Barrett
that.
is about 30. Barrett 31. Barrett 31.
They still
Shaq
got.
31.
They still got that monster Vita Vea who just eats everybody up.
He young. Now he a baby.
So,
Yeah, he a
so,
baby. He a
so,
baby.
so I don't, I don't necessarily think that defense is falling off no time soon. And to be honest with you, I think part of the problem that team had last year was they had a lot of injuries on defense, and I don't think they're gonna be.
And that's what I just
year.
said. I didn't say it was falling off. I said if the veteran dudes on that defense could stay healthy. I didn't say it was falling off.
It wasn't even the best that got hurt. It was really their young dudes that got hurt. It was all their young secondary that got hurt.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Barring health, yeah, if healthy, they a threat because they got that dude. Unfortunately, I gotta say he's that dude, even though I can't stand terrific. You got me calling the man terrific. Brady, Thomas, that guy Thomas, I can't stand him. He's been a thorn in my side since his career started.
It's okay.
Being a Bears fan, what he has done to my team. Because before that dude, the Patriots had never beaten the Chicago Bears. And if you go back in history in 1985, that terrific game that everybody likes to say that the Bears won, we beat the dog. I'm not going to say that word out. The New England Patriots. And we had dominated New England up until the point where this guy they call Brady, So I really don't like Tom. I can't stand Tom, but I've learned the hard way with some humble sauce not to bet against Tom. So they will be a threat. I ain't gonna say they're gonna win it, but Tampa definitely gonna be a threat.
I feel that. So and it's been a lot of quarterback, drama of free agency going on. This free agency has been real hot for quarterbacks because Kyler Murray got his contract extension, $230 million total, $160 million guaranteed. And so now my question is, will the Cardinals get over that hump? Will the Cardinals make a deep playoff push? Even if they don't get to the Super Bowl, will they at least win a playoff game or two? Let's go ahead and start with you, Chris. Will Kyler Murray and them boys, honestly, kind of like last year, barring health, will Kyler Murray and those boys make a playoff push?
Okay. First of all, I love Kyler Murray. I think that contract is a little big for me, but I do think he should have got paid. But I don't think he should have got paid that big of a payday. Because but he still has some things to prove.
But I mean, real quick though, that's just the market for quarterbacks. So you at least got to pay him market value. Yeah. You at least got to pay him market value.
And with that being a market, that's why I said I'm not mad. I just said, me personally, I wouldn't have paid him that much. But the only thing I'm worried about with them as far as getting him that money is D-Hop was hurt last year. To me personally, I don't think they have enough young talent offensively around him, except for maybe in the backfield. They got like one real receiver over there. Like, I think they need to make their roster stronger in other areas like tight end, wide receiver, for them They
actually have a very solid tight end. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he actually did take that step up last year. They actually really do got a solid tight end. I'm just blanking on his name right now.
But Now, don't get me wrong. I love D-Hop. D-Hop great. Glue hands, catch everything. You can throw it low, he gonna catch it. You can throw it high, you can catch it. It could be 3 dudes right there, he gonna catch it. 4 dudes right there, he gonna catch it. He just gonna grab, he gonna catch it. But
Best receiver in the league,
but
if you ask me.
Yeah, but who else? So if the defense, you're like, you know what? We just not gonna let this guy catch the ball. Just everybody. Who else does he have?
I believe he's going to take a big step up this year as well because he's actually a very, very good slot receiver. Andy Isabella. He was low-key a beast in the slot.
Andy Isabella.
And I'm blanking. I know D-Hop. I'm blanking on the other receiver who made the bonehead play that cost them that one game when they was undefeated, where they could have won that one game. It was a veteran receiver that didn't turn around for the pass. I'm blanking on this dude's name.
Wow. I think it was Christian Kirk, the one who went and signed down in Jacksonville.
Not Christian Kirk. It was a
I know. They still have AJ Green. That's who. AJ Green.
Yes. Okay. They have, like, he was a disappointment. Like, I thought AJ Green, he was solid in Cincinnati. I know he's gotten older. I thought I don't know. He didn't look solid. So I feel like for the Cardinals to be good, they have to give some more offensive firepower to that boy. Like, I feel like Kyler does have an arm. He does have the potential, but he just don't have the proper pieces to be successful. So I felt like that's what I would have did with that money, spread it out to give him the proper pieces so he can be successful. And that's how I feel about it.
What do you think, D-Boy? Will the Cardinals make a deep playoff push this year, or will they fall short in the first round again?
Matter of fact, kudos to my boy getting that money, but the Bidwells still on that team, right? That's not a rhetorical question. The Bidwells still on that team, right? I rest my case. That's why they won't ever win nothing. Not even a playoff game.
Playoff game. Hey, D-Boy, right to the point. Like, no. Boo them. Boo them.
Matter of fact, Kyler should have demanded a trade. Just
where was he gonna get traded to?
Just anywhere but Arizona. Get as far away from the Bidwells as you possibly can.
Oh, now that's who could go to Seattle.
They will love him now. He will be a god.
Kyler is no Carneal. Not Seattle.
It's just gonna be the same thing that happened with Russell Wilson the last 3-4 years. They're gonna have a decent record. They're gonna get to the playoffs. And he got a better chance to go further with Arizona than he does Seattle, and that's the honest truth. Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, especially because of that defense and the fact they still got a lot of them pieces on that defense. That defense was good last year. Seattle got rid of their defense, and you can't have a quarter like we saw that. You can't have quarterbacks like for as much as I love Russell Wilson, for as good as he is, you can't have quarterbacks like Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson without a defense. It just don't work. It don't work. It don't work. So Arizona has the one thing that Seattle would need to help bolster Kyler Murray's game, which is a defense. Seattle don't have no defense. They have nobody on defense anymore. They are completely rebuilding that defense. You don't go to places like Seattle if you're a quarterback like Kyler Murray, especially because of what just happened with Russell Wilson and the stuff that was going. Like, no, you don't You don't do that. And honestly, in my opinion, I think the Cardinals will win at least the one playoff game this year. I think, honestly, it really just depends on health and if they can stay healthy towards the end of the year. Like DeAndre Hopkins went down, J.J. Watt went down, and they just kind of staggered,
Let me ask you this.
They just kind of staggered towards the end of the year.
Okay, what NFC quarterback are you saying Kyler Murray is going to beat for his playoff game? Which NFC quarterback is he beat?
I could see him potentially beating Aaron Rodgers. I could see him beating. I could potentially see him beating Matt Stafford and the Rams, but they can't wet the bed, and that's my thing.
Like
if
they
the
did
Cardinals, if the Cardinals don't wet the bed, and like I said, they can stay healthy and keep it together, they can be a very, very, very dangerous team. That's just the honest truth. Like they were dangerous last year.
Like I give you Aaron Rodgers because we watched Jimmy Garoppolo beat Aaron Rodgers. As long as you got a solid defense, you can beat Aaron Rodgers.
Twice.
Aaron Rodgers is not really a threat.
Twice.
He just,
Twice.
as you guys like to say, he's the regular season god. He's a regular season phenomenon.
I could see him potentially beating the Philadelphia Eagles because I think the Philadelphia Eagles gonna be back in the playoffs this year. So I can see him.
Ooh, I don't know if he's gonna be Philly. I don't know. Ooh,
I can
that's
see
a
him.
good one. That would be a good one.
See
That'll
him.
Be a fight.
I can see him potentially beating Philly. For as much as I love Dak, y'all know I love Dak. I could see him beating my boy Dak because everybody knows at some point the Cowboys are just the Cowboys. So
I was just getting ready to say everybody beats the Cowboys in the playoffs.
So
me and my little brother and his friends could beat the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs.
So
Chris's kids could beat the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs.
So
my wife and her friends could beat the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs.
So it's a couple teams I could see Kyler Murray and the Cardinals getting past.
My 95-year-old grandmother could beat the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. Fuck out of here.
Oh, Dallas.
But
I get your point, but I don't know. It's gonna be tough for him, though. It's gonna be tough for him because that NFC.
Since we talking about teams in Arizona and specifically the city of Phoenix, let's go ahead and switch over to their respective brotherly team in another league known as the Phoenix Suns, and the fact that they said they wasn't gonna give DeAndre Ayton a max because they didn't feel like he was a max player until somebody offered him the max first, and then they decided to offer it. And then not just that, not only did he get the max contract, but he has a no trade clause for 1 year as well. So this entire season, he cannot be traded unless he agrees to the trade. So not only did he get the max, but he also got a 1 year no trade clause. And with that being said, will the Phoenix Suns finally take that next leap and go back to the finals and actually win it this time? Let's start with you, D-Boy.
As much as I'm a Chris Paul fan, that man should have retired because they are not, and I repeat, not going to make it to the conference finals. After seeing what I saw this year, I didn't even watch Game 7 to know that they wet the bed.
Ain't nobody had to watch that game to know they wet the bed. They was getting blew out by 30 going in the half.
How is it that you're one of the top shooting guards in the league and you score 7 points. But you the main one on social media trying to act like a tough guy. Stop it. Since when did light-skinned dudes become tough? Stop. You scored 7 points. Stop. Boy, then you talk about Kobe, your idol. If Kobe was still living, boy, do you know what he would have did to you? Oh my God, he would have barbecued
especially after
you.
the man averaged 30. He was averaging 30. The man was averaging 32 at one point in the season.
Devin Booker?
32.
You better
That
go
guy.
crazy in next year's playoffs. Boy, I'm talking about you better be the second coming of Kobe mixed with Jordan. Cause boy, that. I want to jump through the TV and personally whoop your ass. Excuse my language, but and DeAndre Ayton, you big soft teddy bear, you. You got your money, so you better give me 20 and 10. I'm gonna be barbecuing you all season, and that's all I gotta say.
I think that honestly, it's gonna kind of have to go back to how it was last year. And honestly, I think what part of the problem is Chris Paul needs to load manage at the end of the season, which he doesn't. Chris Paul tries to play the full 82. Chris Paul tries to play a full 82.
Yep.
And to be honest,
I
think at this point, I think at this point of his career, he should be forced to sit out a mandatory of 12 games. If he only plays about 70
last
games,
12 games of the season.
Well, I wouldn't say last 12. I wouldn't. I wouldn't
you
say.
don't want to be rusty in the playoffs. You don't want to be rusty. You don't want to be rusty.
Right. I wouldn't say sit them the last 12, but I would say if they sit them periodically throughout the season, maybe like getting towards like the halfway point, you start sitting them for different games here and there. You feel me? But
bombs. If you playing a bomb, if you playing some, not to cut you off, Nail, but if you playing bombs, say you playing Orlando, you should be able to beat Orlando with what's that boy name? Campaign. You should be able to beat Orlando with Campaign running your team.
Or if you up a
not
dub,
sit up here and tell me Cole Anthony is better than Campaign right now.
Cole Anthony is better than Cameron Payne. Cole Anthony is. I'll take Cole Anthony over Cameron Payne any day.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll take that back. That's a bad take. All right. So you can have Campaign start against. I can't even say Indiana because they got Tyrese Halliburton. But it's a lot of teams in the league that you should be able to beat with just Campaign running your team.
But I think what the Phoenix Suns' biggest problem is, and not to talk about Monty Williams, because Monty Williams is a great head coach. They need to take the lead. They need to take the leash off of Cameron Johnson. They need to take the leash off of Cameron Johnson. They need to take the leash. They need to take the leash off of Cameron Johnson. It's obvious Mikal Bridges is the better defender, but it's so obvious that Cameron Johnson is the better scorer of the two. He did. Like they need to let Cam Johnson get enough time to where he can average at least 15 a game. If Cam Johnson averages 15 a game and Phoenix is still kind of looking how they looked last year, I got them going potentially at least maybe to the Western Conference Finals, depending on who they play. Depending on who they play, I got them going at least to the West Finals if Cam Johnson can average at least 15. If DeAndre Ayton can give you about 20 and 10, Devin Booker give you about 27 and 5. Chris Paul, he's going to give you about 10-10 every year because
they better get a top 3 seed because
if Cam Johnson can at least average 15 or more next year, Phoenix will be in a great position.
Oh, yeah.
But that's only if they take the leash off of Cam Johnson. Now, in terms of DeAndre Ayton, I feel like if they didn't re-sign him, they were going to be 7 or below.
Yep.
DeAndre Ayton was a big piece to what they've been able to do these last 2 years. And his first year in the playoffs, for real, in the finals, he just had to go against Giannis. And it's like, to be honest, who really can stop Giannis? Like, there's not a single soul in the league that can stop Giannis. We've seen Giannis cook Joel Embiid. We've seen him cook the so-called best defensive center in the league, Rudy Gobert. We've seen him cook every single last big man that you want to put on him.
You want to throw somebody with your team.
You want to
slow him down with your team.
You want to throw a guard on him, he gonna cook your guard. Like Giannis is Giannis. He gonna do what he gonna do.
Make him shoot.
And Giannis just started developing that jumper now. You're gonna make Giannis shoot, and he gonna burn you for about 3 threes. That's low-key the last thing that you want at this point.
Hey, I don't think the NBA is ready. Like, I was saying that on one of the shows. If Giannis gets a jumper, like, how do you stop him? He already goes to the basket like a match truck. Like a match truck. Like, who's stopping him? That's like, he's a better KD. Like, he's better than KD. Because KD can't attack the basket and do that what Giannis do. KD can't do that. Giannis with a jumper?
In my opinion, Giannis is the best player in basketball right now, if you ask me. If you ask me, Giannis the best player in basketball.
Because he give it to you on both ends. He give it to you on both ends. He rebound. He'll pass it. What don't he do?
And we seen it. And not just that. But like I said, when it comes to Phoenix, I feel like if DeAndre Ayton does what he does, Devin Booker does what he does, and Chris Paul does what he does, really the last offensive piece they really need is to just let Cam Johnson be Cam Johnson. He got so much game and so much talent to only be used as a spot-up shooter. But
and that was the argument that Phil and Mike was trying to make to me one night when we was having an offline conversation. They were saying that Kobe is so talented, which I know he is, but they're pretty much blaming Billy Donovan and his staff for trying to make him something he's not, which is a spot-up shooter.
No. Billy Donovan actually let Kobe White go back to doing what he was doing in college, and we saw that this season when his numbers started to look a little better. I said you got to blame Jim Boylan's staff and all of that. That was Jim Boylan's fault for the reason Kobe White is how he is, not Billy Donovan. But the
trying
Bulls
to make him a point guard, and he's not.
But the Bulls is a different subject for a different day. But Chris, how do you feel? Do you think with the Suns re-signing DeAndre Ayton, will they finally get over the hump this year and maybe, make it back to the finals and win it, or will they fall short in the playoffs again?
I think 2 things. I think, yes, they was trying to get over the hump, but I don't think they are going to get over the hump. And I think they took a look at what they was giving up in DeAndre Ayton and what team they was putting them on. Like, actually, DeAndre Ayton on that Indiana team makes that Indiana team kind of scary.
Mm-hmm. Because you got a little man, big man combo.
DeAndre Ayton makes that Indiana team extremely scary.
But Miles,
they can play big and small.
Miles Turner don't want to be in Indiana. So to be honest, I don't know how scary that makes them, because Miles Turner has wanted out of Indiana for the last 3 seasons now.
Because he's not the main.
Well, just without knowing that, just looking at it on paper, that just makes them scary. And I don't know. I don't think Phoenix
but that's
will be.
still, in my opinion, I feel like he would have made Indiana better, but I still feel like that only would have made them a play-in team. They just would have lost in the play-in game and been out.
Yep. Now they might have won. They might have won. Here's why.
They might have won.
Tyrese Halliburton. I wanted him over Patrick Williams. Like real talk.
But they would have had to win 2 games though, and I can't see them winning 2 play-in games.
They would have won the play-in game, but they wouldn't have won 2 to get the 18.
Exactly. So either way, they still would have been out, and they still would have been out. To make it in, you still got to win 2 games.
Unless you win, unless you the 7. If you get the 7 seed, you good. Like if you finish 7th for 10th, 7-10, whoever wins that 7-10 game, they get the 7th seed.
I'm sorry.
And the loser of that 7-10 game plays the loser. Plays the winner of the 8-9 game.
Is nice. I think Halliburton, Turner, and Ayton is nice. That's a nice, and they all long. They all extra big and long. Because you got to think about it. Halliburton, ain't he like 6'6", 6'7"? As a point guard?
I think he like 6'4", 6'5". But he's not a small guard at all. That's why I want.
But like I said,
he's an extremely long guard.
But like I said, I still think that only makes them like an 8th seed in the East. I still think they don't.
No, I'm not saying they top 5 now. No.
And I still think they lose in the play-in regardless.
Well, that'll be something to see. But as far as Phoenix, I don't think Phoenix improves at all. I think they stay kind of in the same boat that they are, unless they make some adjustments. Like y'all said, let Johnson take the least off of Johnson. But I don't even know if I think they make it back to the West Finals, because I look at how they lost and how they got eliminated in a game preceding the elimination game and some of the playoff performances. Now, we watched Chris Paul in one game. This man had a triple-double or a double-double where he hit every single shot. The man didn't miss a shot. Then the next game, and he couldn't hit the
ocean.
He couldn't throw a rock in the pond.
He couldn't hit the broadside of the barn.
Every shot. And then the whole team, just everybody is like, you playing 2K and you done beat your homie, like you keep on beating your homie sick of you beating on him. So you go to the bathroom or something, and your homie take your controller and turn your game sliders down.
Turn the sliders down, yeah. They
turned the sliders all the way down. That couldn't nobody shoot a score. And I don't think, they resigned, but I don't know, because I see teams like Memphis taking a step. I see Denver taking a step. So I think, I don't know. And
Denver getting Jamal Murray back.
Yeah, they're going to be just the Phoenix Suns. I hope they get to where they were next year, but it's not guaranteed. Chris Paul going to be a year older. I agree with you on the fact that I feel like they should sit Chris Paul some games down the stretch so he'll be fresher for the playoffs. Because, all those games, trying to play all those games probably take a toll on his body. And we know he's past his prime. Well, he ain't past his prime, but, he's getting older. But I think Phoenix, I don't know. I don't see them. They might be just a tad bit worse because of all the teams. I think that's going to take a step in the West, like the Memphis, like the Denvers, and Dallas. I ain't gonna just throw Dallas out that picture either. So I don't know. I say, if I had to take it right now, I say Phoenix would be my 4th seed. I give them 3rd or 4th.
All right.
Obviously, with Golden State, I give them about 3rd or 4th seed.
You better be top 3. Because if you get that 4th seed, you going home second round.
I feel that.
Yeah, like I said, I don't see him being the 1 seed. I see him being 3 or 4, maybe 3 or 4.
And that's what I'm saying. You better finish.
State obviously being number 1, and I take Dallas, Dallas or Denver number 2. I don't know. And then I
I
have
feel that.
Phoenix somewhere in there.
I feel
I
that.
say
I feel
Golden
that.
State. Yeah.
While we talking about other teams in the Western Conference, let's go ahead and talk about one of their division rivals, the LA Lakers, and a certain player whose name happens to be Anthony Davis. Will Anthony Davis return to being a top 10 player this season? Let's go ahead and start off with you, Chris. Will Anthony Davis go back to being a top 10 player this season?
I don't know. I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because I don't know how Anthony Davis has been taking care of his body over the summer. Because as much as I love,
I've actually been kind of keeping up with that. It looks like he's put on some more muscle. He's been back in the gym. I believe he started working with another shooting coach. So I believe AD is trying to put in that work to get back to being a top 10 player in the league. But, you know.
Now, here go my thing. Now, I love AD and I love what he brings to the court. But my only issue with him is the name we all gave him. Street clothes. Like, whenever we need you, whenever somebody down, whenever the team needs it's, we got to look over at the bench and you in street clothes. So I will hope Anthony Davis can return. I'm glad he is putting in the work, and I hope he can return to being a top 10 player. But I can't say I know that for sure because who knows what his body is going to decide to do in the season. Because, you know, the man can't run without hurting something or spraining an ankle. He can't go get a rebound without tearing a shoulder, hurting a knee. You know, he can't, I don't know. It's like if he can keep himself from becoming street clothes, Davis, he probably can be a top 10 player. But if he has an incident where he becomes street clothes, you know how that goes. And that's always been my thing with him. Like, there have been trade talks. Everybody wanted the Bulls to trade for him, the Bulls to go get him. And I was with that, bring Chicago home, but I don't want to be looking at my TV and seeing the Bulls down by 10 or 15. Like, okay, we'll put in AD go get us 10. Oh, he in street clothes. I don't want that. Like, we trying to make a playoff push and, you know, AD over there in street clothes. Now we ain't winning playoff games because AD in street clothes. So I hope he can return to form, but I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't know because I don't got an answer because it all depends on his body. Now, if his body hold up, he a top 10 player all day long. But if his body don't hold up, I can't put him there. And that's my take.
I feel that. Honestly, I think I'm gonna go out on the limb here and say he's gonna get back to being a top 10 player this year. I feel like I honestly feel like, you know, yeah, he's had some injuries and like he's been hurt, but he's never had that many injuries in one season. Usually it'd be like one or two here and there. And you know, he's usually able to stay on the court and like still
gone so long. No, they keep him gone so long. All his injuries keep him gone like 6 to 8+ weeks.
No,
that'd be the thing. They all keep him gone.
No,
like,
see, I would say that, but honestly, last year it wasn't even that he was gone so long. It's the fact that he got hurt numerous times throughout the season. Majority of his injuries, he's only gonna be out for maybe about 2 to 4 weeks at best. But he had so many injuries last year. That's what it felt like because he got injured at least 3 to 4 times last year and missed more. I think he missed more than half the games last season because he got hurt. He got hurt so many different times.
Somebody up, he got hurt. I've seen a man get a rebound, come down.
A couple of those
just hurt his own ankle.
But also a couple of those, unfortunately, just happened to be freak injuries. Like on the one where he was getting the rebound and coming down. Like,
Yeah.
Not to say I'm a professional basketball player and nothing like that, but I've had that happen to me plenty of times where I go up, get a rebound, and if I come down on somebody's foot, that's my ankle. You feel me? So I kind of understand a little bit of what he's going through. I can't say I understand everything, but like, it's just he had so many different injuries last year. He got injured like 3 to 4 times last year, and I feel like part of that was because he didn't necessarily take care of his body the right way. But this year, it seems like he actually is, putting in the work. I've seen some pictures of him. He's looking bigger than he looked last year. Like he put on some more muscle. He's starting to look like how he did in those Pelican days.
That's cool. Like I said, if his body hold up, but if that body break down, it's over with. It's over with. He gonna be back to being street clothes. I don't want the man to post up somebody and get his shoulder separated and he gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need him on the court. I would love to see him on the court. We ain't seen him play a full season in a while, but who knows how his body gonna do.
But D-Boy, what do you think? Will Anthony Davis get back to top 10 form this year, or will he sputter the whole season?
Chris said everything. It depends on health. It really doesn't, there's really nothing more left to say. Like I said, Chris said everything. It depends on health. I love AD, about him being for Chicago. He's one of my favorite players when healthy, in my opinion. When healthy, he's the best power forward / center in the game, because there's nothing on the court that he cannot do. He can also guard positions 1 through 5. So, like I said, it all comes down to health. So if he stays healthy, yes, he will be. I'll go out on a limb. If he stays healthy, he's going to come back with a vengeance. He's going to be top 5. And he's going to be top 5 in the MVP conversation. So that's my take on it. It just all comes down to health.
And we might as well just go ahead and stick with the theme of the Western Conference. So last episode, when we talked about Donovan Mitchell, we talked about him potentially wanting out because it was reported that he might not want out. He was probably gonna stick with it. But literally the day after we did that episode, news broke that the Utah Jazz are actually listening to teams and are willing to make offers for Donovan Mitchell. So in this case, will Donovan Mitchell be traded before the season starts? And if so, where will he be traded to? D-Boy, let's start with you.
Will he be traded? Most likely. Where he'll be traded to? He seems to have only one destination in mind, and that's Madison Square Garden.
Gotham City.
So, matter of fact, I can see him there because the Knicks whipped on Zion. They were tanking and playing chess, thinking that Zion wasn't gonna sign that extension. Zion signed that extension.
I hope he don't sign it.
You hope he don't what now?
I hope he don't sign with New York. Don't go to New York. No,
he's not a free agent though, Chris. But Chris, this thing, Donovan Mitchell's not a free agent. It's not up to him where he goes. It's up to the Utah Jazz where they want to trade him. It seems like they're looking for draft picks, and the New York Knicks got like 11 or so draft picks that they could trade potentially.
And you forgot who now owns that team. So the Knicks have what that man gonna ask for. Plus cash. Plus they'll be able to give him some money. So he gonna end up in New York, man. But now, will it work? I can see him in tears butting heads. I can see him in tears butting heads, definitely. I think because Tibbs, you know how Tibbs' coaching style is, he pushes you. especially when you slacking. So when if it ever comes a time where he feel Donovan missed her assignment on defense or didn't make the right play on offense, I can see Tibbs benching him, and that's going, I don't think Donovan is going to respond to that in the right way. Because I think Donovan, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not coming for his character. I don't know much about him. I know he is a hell of a player, but I just never seen how he responds to tough coaching. Because I think, and the reason, and what makes me say that is because, in my opinion, Quinn Snyder just let him do whatever. I mean, pretty much.
But if you look at what he did when he got there, nobody expected him to be like. The only person who expected him to do what he did there was probably Donovan Mitchell's family and close friends and himself. Nothing but he got there, and literally his rookie year, he took them to the second round of the playoffs. Now putting out my boy Russell Westbrook at OKC when Paul George and Carmelo Anthony decided to just play absolutely terrible in the playoffs and not help Russell Westbrook at all.
Playoff P. Playoff P. My man, Playoff P.
That man had 5 points in a closeout game at OKC that first year when they lost to the Jazz. And that man, Russell Westbrook, was literally trying to do anything and everything he could to get them boys to beat the Utah Jazz. And he got no help from Paul George and Carmelo Anthony whatsoever.
Zero.
Yeah. No, I agree. He didn't. But I mean, like I said, maybe you have seen it. I haven't. And just because of how Tibbs is, and I got to see his coaching style up close and personal for how many years was he here? 5. So I just think it'll be interesting to see how they get along. I'll say that. And that's my take on it. I think he's going to end up in New York, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how that marriage works. So
I feel you. So there's 2 places I could potentially see Donovan Mitchell getting traded to, and they both involve hard-nosed coaches that are going to press you. And that is the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat. Spoelstra ain't going to play with him either. We saw Spoelstra getting Jimmy Butler face. Spoelstra don't care who you are. He going to come at you. We saw Tibbs do it with Derrick Rose. Okay. Tibbs don't care. Tibbs going to come at you regardless of who you are.
Yep, but see, Derrick can take that coaching.
He can, and so can Jimmy. But I'm just saying, I don't think Donovan Mitchell can't not take tough coaching. I think Donovan Mitchell can take tough coaching because he was at Louisville. That's where he played college ball at, and I don't know too much about that coach, but I think the one thing I do remember hearing about that coach was he a bit of a hard nose too down there at Louisville.
Yeah, now Rick Pitino will tell you when you screwing up. Like
exactly, and so that's who he came from in college. So I can't see him not being receptive to hard-nosed coaching. And I don't necessarily know if he'll be traded before the season, but I feel like if he gets traded before the season, he's getting traded to the Knicks for all those draft picks. I feel like if he gets traded during the season, Miami done somehow figured out to work out a deal to get Donovan Mitchell down there and get him alongside Jimmy Butler.
LeBron and Jenny Buster's office right now talking about trade everybody for Donovan Mitchell. LeBron,
but that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. We got to be realistic about it. They can't even trade everybody. They can't even trade Russell Westbrook. Nobody wants Russ's contract. Nobody wants that contract.
LeBron gonna buy his contract out with his own money.
That's illegal, and he gonna get kicked out the league for that.
No, I'm just no, but yeah, I know LeBron called Mrs. Buck.
But honestly, I honestly could see him ending up being a New York Knick alongside Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle. And I honestly think that team will be a lot scarier than some people think, because RJ Barrett, it's taking him some time, but he really is going to end up taking that next step. I don't know if he's going to be a superstar, but he's at least going to be a star. And we see that just from the way he's been putting in the work and some of the things he's been doing. He's improved his jump shot. He started working on his right hand a lot more because, you know, for whatever reason, him and Julius Randle, they only know one direction, and that's to the left. So, you know, it's like if you shade that left hand, and force them right, you feel me? It wasn't a whole lot they can do. So
They can do right.
They still got Mitchell Robinson.
New York will always be New York.
They still got Mitchell Robinson. So you know, I feel like if he goes to the Knicks and he gets traded there, they'll make some noise in the East like how they did a few years ago when nobody expected them to kind of do what they did. I think they'll make some noise, and I think they could potentially win a playoff series. I don't know how far they'll get, but I could see them potentially winning the playoff series because Donovan Mitchell, he did everything for the Utah Jazz in the playoffs. We watched that man drop 45 points in a playoff game and still lose. Like that would kill me. And we saw it kill him.
Still lost.
We saw it kill him when that man was dropping high 30s, low 40-point games in the playoffs and still losing. Like, that was killing him. Like we saw it in his face, in his spirit, in his heart.
That's why I wouldn't want him to end up in New York, because New York is still New York. Because New York can have some of the greatest talents in basketball. They have had histories of teams where they've had some of the greatest talents. Patrick Ewing, John Starks. They had some great talent, but it's like New York.
Real quick. We all know the only reason why that New York Knicks team never made the finals is because they had to play 2-3. If you ain't got to play 2-3, they probably make the finals. And the one year that they didn't have to play 2-3 and didn't make the finals, it was because they lost on their way there because Patrick Ewing got hurt. We all know that. If Ewing don't go down and he don't get hurt, they potentially make the finals. But 2-3, and I ain't talking about LeBron, I'm talking about Jordan. Jordan kept a lot of people. Jordan kept a lot of people and a lot of teams ringless. Think about it. The only reason Olajuwon,
I know that, but hold on. But didn't Barkley get that New York team too? Didn't Barkley get them as well? If I'm not mistaken, didn't Barkley get them? What?
No. Barkley was on the 76ers losing to them. That's why he went to Phoenix.
Oh, you right. All right, Barkley didn't beat them. I thought Barkley might have got them one time. I thought Barkley got them. Maybe it was regular season.
Nope. They was losing, me and Barkley, and then D went and skated to Phoenix.
Yeah, but that's always been my thing with New York. Like, New York can be a great team, but it's like they like the Detroit Lions in football. Yeah, you can have Megatron, you can have Barry Sanders. You're just gonna be a real great, awesome player on this team. You're just on this team.
I mean,
New York. They just one of them teams.
I mean, you could say the same thing about the Utah Jazz. I mean, the Utah Jazz is just one of them teams. Exactly. They can never get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
D-Boy,
never get it.
real quick, you weren't here for this episode, but I caught a lot of flack from pretty much all the rest of the guys on the episode because, in my most humble opinion, even though I know some people are gonna be like, "Oh, you crazy," is that third? I said Karl Malone and John Stockton was an overrated duo because they never did anything for real. They got all them numbers and never did nothing. Never had. They don't got no type of title, no type of glory, and nothing to show for it. I feel like that was one of the most
I
overrated
can't say they
duos in
overrated.
basketball history.
As much as I don't care for either one, I can't say they're overrated. They're ringless because of who you just said. Like he literally kept them ringless. Like if Mike gets hurt, either one of those games, like better yet, when you go out on a road game in the finals with food poisoning and put up 38, 7, and 5. Yeah. And that food poisoning, that wasn't somebody literally poisoned him. And he still went out there and bust their ass. 38, 7, and 5. Kept them in. And they had had good games. And Mike still 38, 7, and 5.
But you got to think about it. Before that, though, also they couldn't get past the Dream. They let the Dream win 2 years in a row when Mike was out.
The Dream. That man, before there was Shaq, it was Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson. Then Shaq came along and everybody was, matter of fact, that 95 finals, everybody was talking about what Shaq was going to do to Olajuwon. Everybody was putting that S on that man's chest, calling him Diesel and Superman and all that. And y'all saw what happened. 4 games. One and done.
And
gave that man 20 and 10, gave that man 20 and 10 plus all 4 games.
Like I said, I know they got the numbers. I know they had some really impressive performances, but it's a lot of people who kind of feel, like I know this might be a bad example, but there's a lot of people who kind of feel like one of our current NBA greats is a little overrated. I like more recently, I've heard a lot of people call Melo, even though we all know Melo ain't overrated. There's a lot of people who feel like, there's a lot of people who feel like it's just certain NBA greats that are overrated. And like I said, a lot of people
Melo
might say,
case.
but
different case.
Like
Melo, in my opinion, is the greatest scorer ever.
My opinion.
Melo a different case. Melo is the case to me of somebody being too good for their own good. Like he had too much talent, too many skills. He was uncoachable. Like if Melo was more coachable and knew how to not.
But that's the point, though.
Like I'm Melo,
do something called pass the ball.
But that's the point, though. That became a stigma around Melo. Melo has always been coachable. That became a stigma around him because a lot of people were making assumptions about him. Even when it came to OKC, even
you're not gonna play for Jim Boeheim and not be coachable.
Even going back to when Melo was at OKC, there was a stigma going around that Melo didn't want to, come off the bench. And Melo said himself, Melo was like, they never asked me to come off the bench. Melo was like, if they asked me to come off the bench, I probably would have done it. It's been a lot of stigmas around Melo his whole career, to be honest with you. But
I always think he was too talented for his own good. He was a little bit.
I just got one thing to say.
He was too talented for his own good. He couldn't handle all that talent. He couldn't handle it.
I just got one thing to say. He let Lala cost him a ring.
I guess you could say that, but we gonna stay out of the personal lives.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not trying to take that. No, Melo, my man. But deep down inside, he let his ex-wife cost him a ring. Cause had he came here, boy, it was a wrap. That was
But
a definite ring.
but I know there was one thing that you kind of wanted to touch on, D-Boy, and so I believe we got enough time to do it. So why not? I know you wanted to touch on our very own hometown Chicago Bulls and whether or not
don't fix your check, D-Boy. Go on, get ready. Go on, get ready.
and whether or not and whether or not the offseason for them was a disappointment. In a lot of Bears fans' eyes, it wasn't. In my eyes, the offseason wasn't a disappointment. I feel like they made the moves necessary and drafted the right players for the team. But I know you feel other ways about the contract that was given to Zach LaVine. So honestly, D-Boy, the floor is yours.
All right. I'm not saying Zach LaVine not a nice player.
Don't get off your chest.
I'm not saying he's not a nice player, man. I just don't think he deserves. How much they give him? $212 million?
215, I think.
215.
Yeah.
He's just not 215 nice. But to his defense, there are rumblings that he's been in the gym going crazy, like workout, like 5 a.m. workouts, then go back to the gym at 9 a.m. workout some more. Then they say he working on his defense, which I really hope.
That's the DeMar DeRozan effect. When you have a veteran who shows you really how to actually sort of put in that work, and you just not trying to do it on your own, and you have a veteran player who's went and worked out with other players, like when you have your own in-house vet and you're not going to go search for veterans around the league
to work out with. That's huge. Like I saw a video on him, man. This man back to jumping out the gym. Like, I mean, here's my thing, man. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate Zach. I don't. I did feel like he didn't deserve that contract, and I am expecting big things out of him. I think had he not been hurt, to his defense, he was hurt. Had he not been hurt, I can't say he would have made much of a difference because he still didn't have Alonzo. So all the Bucks would have did was probably just adjusted their defense to let DeMar do it. Like they basically knew that all they had to do was build a wall against DeMar. Because they knew Zach was hurt. They knew AC wasn't a threat. They knew Ayo wasn't a threat. They knew Kobe was inconsistent. And they knew we didn't have Lonzo, like I said. Now, as far as the offseason is concerned, I'm a little disappointed only because I felt we should have went and got some three-point shooting. I really thought we should have went and got Malik Monk, but I know that's not going to happen now. I will say that signing Andre Drummond, that was solid. Like you said in an offline conversation, Neil, what did you say? He gives us the two things we need, which is rebounding and rim protection. And I told you that, I had been debating with fans on Twitter and YouTube that, he's averaged a block and a half for his career. So has that not rim protection? And then I've also had fans literally inbox me and say, well, that's a bad move because he's almost 35 years old and I have to set him, correct him. And no, he's 28. He's just hitting his prime. I'm not saying we don't need him to be Detroit Andre Drummond. We just need him to be Andre Drummond that gives us 12 and 10. If he's Andre Drummond that gives us 12 and 10, I can work with that. But other than that, that's what I wanted to. Oh, and one last thing. If the Bulls are smart, they'll try to go get Miles Turner. Because Tony Bradley, no. And what's crazy, real quick, Neil, is I defended Tony Bradley like crazy the beginning of last season. Then when he finally got the chance to show me what I've been talking about, he wet the bed. So I just hope I just hope, man. I want to believe in this regime, but I don't know, man. They making it hard. They making it hard. But we'll see. I expect the Bulls to, depending on health, I expect them to go to the second round, depending on health. Depending on health.
Well, honestly,
one last thing, real quick. For them to go further than the second round, some unknown like Patrick Williams or Ayo Dosunmu will have to go crazy, like I've been saying. So that's it. That's my take. I'm a little disappointed so far. I get a off season a C+ or C-.
So, honestly, in my opinion, I was actually satisfied with what they did in the offseason. I really didn't expect us to make too many blockbuster moves.
Yeah, I knew we wasn't doing that. We didn't have the money.
Because I knew at the end of the day, we still had to pay Zach LaVine. And it's like the one reason why there was a lot of people saying you shouldn't have given him the max, but I feel like, to be honest, we had to give him that max because
you did. You had to.
Because he was there through all the bad, and he could have left when he was getting into it with Jim Boylan. He could have asked out for a trade, and he didn't. He chose to stay. He believed in the owners. He believed that they would turn it around, and to be honest, they did.
Yeah, but
they turned it around. I know one of the big men that like a lot of Bulls fans was hoping we could have went and got was Mitchell Robinson, but I for as much as I wanted them to get Mitchell Robinson as well, I felt like he was just out of our pay range.
Yep, and he wanted to start. He did not want to come off the bench. He literally said the reason he didn't come to the Bulls is because they didn't want to pay me and they wanted me to come off the bench.
Right, and so it's like when you got that going on, and we still trying to make sure we had enough money to pay Zach and just add like some other veterans around to kind of help fill out the roster and still develop the team, develop our young players and things like that. And to be honest, I was actually happy with the Andre Drummond pickup because he's gonna give us at least 10 points, 10 boards, and at least 1 to 2 blocks a game, which is what we need. We don't need somebody to stand in there and try and be Robert Williams or be like, prime Shaq or be Giannis in the paint. We just need somebody who when they on the court, they're going to at least make it difficult on the inside. I'm not saying they got to be a defensive beast, but just make it tough down there, because it's like last year, a lot of teams got, they just got a lot of easy buckets down low when Vooch went to the bench.
Even when Vooch was on the floor, they still kind of dominated the paint because, Vooch has his moments where he decides he wants to play like Sherman Tissue. So, and be soft and, cry because he's not getting calls. And that's another thing I hope we clean up this year, too. We got to stop crying for calls. The league is obviously not going to give us no calls. So we got to quit crying for calls and get back on defense.
I mean, yeah, but as I've said before in an off-air conversation, nobody likes when the evil team is good, and the evil team is back. Chicago has been one of the most hated basketball teams, all because of Jordan. It's all Jordan's fault why we are so hated. We are hated around the league.
Facts. No, that's 100%.
And when people saw that the Bulls were making a comeback, nobody wanted to do any type of talks with us and no type of deals for anybody. The teams was avoid. Like I saw some reports like teams was like ducking and dodging the Bulls calls and wasn't calling them back and all type stuff. Oh, okay. So y'all don't like when the evil team is back and we good. Because when the Bulls are good, I feel like that's great for the NBA because we are a legacy team.
Yep.
We a legacy team because of Jordan. Jordan made the Bulls a legacy team. So when the Bulls are good,
franchise. We were one of the founding teams. When the ABA and NBA merged together, we were one of the founding teams.
Right. And then from there, we got Jordan, never lost the championship game. And Chicago was entitled to a lot of basketball and championship greatness back in the days overall. And now it seems like we trying to get back to those heights and back to that championship greatness. Teams are, not really trying to talk with the Bulls and work things out with us. You feel me? It's a lot of teams who are still scarred from Jordan and from what he did in the past. But overall, I was happy with the offseason moves. I was happy with our draft picks, even though I saw a lot of fans who were kind of upset. I'm like, just wait, give it some time. The rebuild technically isn't done yet. I know it. I know it might seem like to some fans that the rebuild was finished, but last season was really only phase 2 in terms of getting DeRozan, getting Lonzo, getting Caruso. That was phase 2. Now we entering phase 3, going into phase 4. Phase 4 is when the rebuild should be complete and we should be touching the finals. Right now, we done with phase 2 and we moving on to phase 3. Now we got to just go ahead, wrap up phase 3, get to phase 4, and make the finals.
Oh, bold prediction. At the trade deadline, Nikola Vucevic is not going to be a Chicago Bull.
You know what? I could kind of see that and understand that, but unless we really get a lot back for him in return, I can't see that necessarily happening because Vooch was a key part of also the reason why we got DeRozan as well. You got to think about it. Zach LaVine and Vooch went to DeRozan's house and pretty much told him, like, hey, dog, we need you. And he came. And we saw what DeRozan did for us.
Vooch, they say Vooch literally was like, bro, like, I know you want to go home, bro, but
we need
don't
you.
count Chicago out.
We need you. And not just that, we was able to get him more money than LA could give him.
He didn't want to play with LeBron no way.
Yeah, because LeBron wanted him. LeBron was pissed when they let AC walk. LeBron was pissed.
Because they wasn't finna pay that boy no bread.
LeBron shouldn't have fired everybody else.
Nah. Yeah, I blame LeBron
fired everybody else.
Blame on Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka turned that team into a clown show.
LeBron fired Russell. He fired D'Angelo Russell. He fired Julius Randle. He fired Kuzma. LeBron fired everybody.
So, Chris, really quick, because you came back, right in the nick of time, how do you feel about the Bulls offseason? Do you think it was, solid? Was it disappointing? How do you feel?
Bulls. I would grade the Bulls offseason B minus C. I like the draft picks. I like the size. I like the defensive aspect. But I think we could have made a couple of different moves. I do like the Andre Drummond pickup. I do like that pickup. And I was one of those fans calling for Mitchell Robinson. That's what I wanted. I would have loved to see Mitchell Robinson.
Too. I wanted Mitch Rob too.
We just didn't have the money for him.
Maybe
we didn't have the money
for him. We had a starting spot for him.
Yeah, and I also wanted us to see if we could steal Mikal Bridges. I want to steal Bridges. I thought he would have been a nice fit for us. But I'm not
McHale
disappointed
going nowhere
because
that man ain't going
I
nowhere.
know that was my dream. But I expect some of our second year players who were rookies last year to step up. I expect Kobe White to be gone for some draft picks. So I ain't too mad. I'm just waiting to see because we had a lot of injuries last year. And like to Carneal's point, I know since we had that Michael Jordan guy, and he stopped a lot of teams, a lot of franchises from getting those championship ring things, and they still mad, and they're gonna be mad forever.
Big mad.
They don't, like Carneal
Big
said,
mad.
they don't want to see the Bulls. They want to see the Bulls be good because it brings them back to flashbacks of Michael Jordan and what he did to their team and his 6-0 finals record and how he just dominated them. So they getting all in their feelings and feel bad. But as far as the Bulls, like I said, I think I like the players we picked up. I like the defensive aspect. I think they bring not only defense, but that toughness, swagger, because sometimes the Bulls just are tentative. They play
we was a little soft
like,
last year.
When
we lost Lonzo, and Caruso,
they had no
we
dogs out there.
We were soft.
Yeah, they had no dogs. I think they added some toughness. Now, the only offseason move that I wish
we
they
didn't even
would
have
do
our
is
silent dog last year and Patrick Williams, because Patrick Williams is a lot tougher than people realize.
Exactly. And I also feel like that we also need to I wanted to see if Billy Donovan can get some better help or somebody can take over play calling for Billy Donovan, because I think he'll be a big part of our success with his rotations and how he plays. Because I really had an issue.
His rotations was that bad last year. I think the only reason why I seen his rotations was bad was because a lot of our players started going down, and we just didn't have like the necessary backup for some of them players. But now we got the backup, we got the talent. Hopefully everybody can stay healthy. Because when Billy Donovan had a fully healthy OKC team, his rotations was solid. He knew how to spread the minutes around. He knew how to keep players on the court. He knew when to bring them in and take them out. It's just last year we were still missing that.
I think with the Bulls, to me, he struggled when it give dudes they rest. To me, he struggled like it seemed to me like when dudes was really feeling it, like take them out, go rest. Go rest.
Part of that,
like no, don't take him out while he didn't have no backup.
You gotta think about it. Unless Boots was on the floor, we didn't have a real big. We went and picked up Tristan Thompson just for him to be absolutely hot garbage.
Garbage.
Trash.
He added nothing. He didn't even add the toughness that we thought he was gonna bring. He wasn't even as tough. He wasn't even as enforcer that we thought.
Is, right?
Because he didn't work on his game. He didn't work on his game.
He didn't work on his game. And then I know for a fact him and Billy Donovan did not. That was no. That was no. I know they.
That's
my
thing. That's why I
they didn't mesh. So
I give the Bulls off season a B-, but I do like the fact that we picked up some toughness. And Andre Dum, I like that pickup. But I think we should have made another move to secure one more big. I think we need to secure like one more power forward big.
We bringing Marco up from the G League. I really think the Bulls are actually gonna bring Marco up from the G League this year. I think. You know what? They had him like that pissed me off when they didn't bring him up last year, because I felt like he had a little noise, he had a little buzz, and it was just like, let's see what the dude can do. Let's see what the dude. We never got the chance to see what the dude can do.
Here's what concerns me about Marco.
But Miles Turner want to start though, D boy. real quick. Miles Turner don't want to come off the bench, but that's really the problem with a lot of bigs. That's really the problem with a lot of big men is they don't want to necessarily come off the bench. They want to start.
Yeah, that's why I can see.
And that's why I suggested when I was first suggesting bigs because everybody thought I was crazy, but that dude Hoop when Bam went down, go get Yortsevin. Whatever the heck his name is, Yortsevin. He was a bench player. We could about that dude.
He decent.
Yeah,
he
that
decent.
dude.
He'll be a nice emergency center. He decent. He decent.
Yeah,
no,
he
he's
hooped
not
when
bad
Bam was down. That dude was going crazy. And they didn't even play him in the playoffs. They didn't even play him in the playoffs.
He was going crazy.
He didn't play.
Nah, he decent. But I wanted to say real quick before we close, here's my thing with Marco. When he plays bums, he's Shaquille O'Neal. When he goes up against real, actual centers that are dogs, he turns into Kwame Brown.
Ooh, I wouldn't go that far, D-boy. That's too far. That's way too far.
Bro, I didn't see some of his summer league highlights.
Back to Kwame. Ooh.
He turns into Kwame Brown, bro. That's my only problem. That's my only concern.
No.
This is the one thing against elite talent.
This is the one thing we will never do. I don't care how bad somebody plays unless they just absolutely. But we will never, ever compare any of our big men to Anthony Bennett or Kwame Brown. Never. I will never, ever compare any big man to either one of them bums.
I forgot about Anthony Bennett. Oh my God, because Anthony Bennett was the number one pick, wasn't he?
Anthony Bennett. Julius Randle is what Anthony Bennett was supposed to be.
Facts.
We will never, ever compare any of our big men to any of them bums. Them is straight bums. Bums.
Hey, I hate to say it, Neil, but
I definitely
go back and look at the highlights, bro.
I did. I was watching some of that summer league stuff. And yeah, but also you got to think about why that is, though. He played in the G League last year. Once he actually gets some real NBA run and he can actually get accustomed to what it's like to actually playing with those bigs in NBA, I think he will adjust. I really think Marco Simonovic.
I give him that.
I think Marco Simonovic could potentially be what Nikola Mirotic was supposed to be for us.
Oh, that scoring big.
Yes.
Off the bench.
Yes. That scoring big off the bench.
Is he gonna be tough or is he gonna be soft?
He tougher than him though. He's slightly tougher than Mirotic.
He was soft.
He tougher than Nikola Mirotic.
Mirotic was soft. That was the only knock on Mirotic. And then Mirotic like to call people a word that he shouldn't say, that he didn't know he shouldn't say, and BP had to correct his vocabulary. He went out after he got his vocabulary.
In a physical matter.
But you know what, fellas? That is all the time that we have for today. Once again, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in to this episode of Can I Get Some Sports With That? I was your host, Neil. We have my boy D-Boy on. D-Boy, say bye to the people. Chris, go ahead and wave goodbye to the people.
See y'all soon, baby. We ain't gonna be gone too long.
Not too long.
Peace, y'all.
And don't forget to go ahead and give us a like and subscribe on the YouTube page. Subscribe. You can find us on Facebook. Can I Get Some Sports With That? You can find us on Twitter at Can I Get Some Sports With That? And once again, we will be coming back to you all with some of the hottest sports content. Let's not forget, Chicago is still the best sports city ever in America. Peace out, y'all.
100.
That's for sure. Peace out.